I love she's got it on her fingers.
And then the song.
You may shoot me with your words. You may cut me with your eyes. You may kill me with your hatefulness. But still, like life, I'll rise.
I refuse to accept the view that mankind is so tragically bound to the starless.
Please give it up for your host of Black NewsBeat, Dr. Kamika Campbell.
There's a million people in here. There's a million people in here, everybody online. It's a million. Welcome, everybody. Thank you for coming. It's amazing. I am so glad to have you guys tonight. We are in for a beautiful night. I know we're getting started a little bit late, and we apologize for that. However, thank you for waiting because you're in for a beautiful night. We have a bunch of wonderful special guests. But more importantly, we want to celebrate Black women tonight. And we have some beautiful leaders here to talk about their journeys. And I want to make sure that you guys hear this wonderful work. But first, before we get started with all that, we do have a special musical guest. Ooh. Yes, before we even hear anything, yes, please welcome Jasmine Taylor, aka Pan. The visionary coming from York, PA, describes her overall style as eccentric. And I'm going to say also just like ethereal, because that's my favorite thing about her. When she gets on that stage, just so beautiful and so magical. As a professional music and spoken word artist, she finds passion in helping people feel their feelings by genuinely expressing her own. And most importantly, she believes in showcasing uniqueness and authenticity, which is the theme of tonight. Her goal in everything is to help connect us to our true human nature. Please welcome Miss Jasmine Taylor, aka Pam.
Thank you so much. Thank you, guys. Again, my name is Jasmine, aka Pan, like Peter Pan, frying pan. I am here with my beautiful daughters, Zoe and Nari. And first, I'm going to be sharing a poem with you all, and then I'm going to do a song. My poem is called 3 Generations Ago. It's actually a Juneteenth poem, and it was requested for tonight. So I'm going to be doing that, and then I'll be doing my song right after. I hope you enjoy. Thank you again. Just 3 generations ago, to be a beautiful dark brown girl raped by the headmaster at age 13 and made to have me a mixed breed was the right of the Lord, a decree by God. And just as much a slave than not because of that one drop. See, I am the children of the plantation's children, both my parents mixed, an abomination on both ends of the stick. Now, I ain't saying we had it worse, but don't act like us light skins ain't been getting burned for not being white enough and then targeted for not being dark enough to have struggles. With me, everything doubles. Y'all might not like it, but I'ma shed light on the mulattoes because that's who I am. My lack of melanin don't make me subtle or confused. I got the right to be angry too, but I got to be mad at white and black people. I'm considered both and neither, a team player and a cheater, a victim and a griever, disappointment and pleaser. This is me, a halfling. Everything I say is seen as gaslighting, and I'm fighting to be greater and lesser. I'm a peacemaker and aggressor. I got the blood of slaves and oppressors. Both my grandmamas are white. Both black granddaddies nowhere in sight. My mixed genes make me stop believing in wrong and right. I can only fight myself. Anything else is selfish. In hell, in my own shell, can't tell what my own story is. I was told to look at history, so I went to the Emancipation Proclamation when Abraham Lincoln declared the slaves was free on January 1st, 1863, but it was 2 years, 5 months, and 19 days till the last freed slaves would leave the plantation. Can you imagine the sensation? The last freed slaves. The last ones to liberate their minds just to be stuck in a nation full of hatred and pride and constantly attacked for the shade they have or the shade they lack. Now, I don't like math much, but something to me don't add up. Being mixed taught me that when something don't make sense, I got to keep backing up. Being mixed taught me to boil down our suffering to the bottom of the pain. Past the 1400s when Columbus came. Past the Bible, past the tribal. Being mixed taught me we are all liable. And the more I go back, the more I believe our history is undeniable. We just don't know. What's the point of me getting up here just to sugarcoat? Titanic ain't the only thing that got me scared to get on big boats. I'm haunted by loops and ropes and whatever got white people to start tripping in the first place. I heard black people were the first race. I heard white people were a mutation. I heard they were considered an abomination and shunned to the Caucasus Mountains. I heard black people were the first slave masters and counting, but there ain't no date on that, so we can't relate to that. We can't debate that. Ain't got nothing to show for our beliefs but books and stories. I wonder how long it's gonna take us to realize we still ain't free. We still under attack. We still trapped, arguing over the different shades we have. Forget a paper bag. I don't want to be white or black. I just want to be me. In this time, in this space, in this color, but no race. No first, second, or third place. See, I've been finding comfort in the yin yang, white and black. I can't get away from the balance of gray, or I'll lose sight of my vision. I'll lose sight of my hopes. Thank you so much for listening. I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate the love, man. I know it's a little deep. That's just me. It is what it is. But okay, so my song I'm gonna be singing, well, it's actually a rap. I do rap and sing. And yes. All right, so I'm just gonna jump in. It's called Waiting. Tick tock, the clock don't stop, and we Millie rocking to our deathbeds, trying to figure out how to knock Uncle Sam. We got a chance to stop it. Unlock your heart chakra, don't block it, just love. We're steady mobbing, looking above, not realizing we're looking for each other, but keep sizing up. Discover one another, start rising up. Working 9 to 5 just ain't enough. You're acting tough, so pack your stuff lightly. Think of yourself highly. Take care of yourself nightly. You're more than strong, you're mighty. Believe in yourself, keep fighting. Yeah. Yeah, you're more than strong. You're mighty. Believe in yourself. Keep fighting. Yeah. Believe in yourself. Keep fighting. You keep waiting, complacent. Your time is fading. Don't waste it. Here's your sign. Don't waste your time. Just lose it. Just lose it. You keep waiting, complacent. Your time is fading. Don't waste it. Yeah. Here's your sign. Don't waste your time. Just lose it. Just lose it. Just tune in to your own music. Don't play stupid. You already know what you're doing. Start to filter through it. Ain't no way around it. You gotta go through it. Too much to prove to them. You're nothing new to them. They chew you up and then they leave you for dead. You improve and then they come around again. You allow it. When will you allow it to end? I'm waiting for a sign that I'm doing this thing right. I'm waiting for a sign that I'm doing this thing right. I'm waiting for a sign that I'm doing this thing right. I'm waiting. You keep waiting, complacent. Your time is fading. Don't waste it. Yeah. You're more than strong. You're mighty. Believe in yourself. Keep fighting. Yeah. Believe in yourself. Keep fighting. Release. Belief will increase. Unwind and find the peace within your mind. Search and find the answers inside. 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 Thank you.
Wow, that was amazing. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Good evening, family. I'm going to let the folks who just came in get a seat. There's some seats right back here in the back. Come on through. Come on through. Good evening, family, and welcome to a special episode of the Black News Beat with me, Dr. Mika Campbell. This is Black Women Lead. I thank you guys for being present tonight for this occasion. It is my heart to share and make sure that we are not just honoring Black women, but also documenting the success and also the trials and tribulations of how Black women lead in our region. So I'm glad that you guys thought that was something to celebrate and to talk about. And I am very thankful that you're here. So without further ado, tonight we are honoring truth, power, presence, because getting into leadership as a Black woman in central Pennsylvania is not easy. And yet, these women continue to lead with grace and fire. I would like to welcome to the stage Ms. Tina Nixon. Ms. Jocelyn Rawls. Ms. Latasha Williams. And last, but absolutely not least, Ms. Crystal Brown. Make sure I don't fall off the stage. Hello, ladies. I am so glad that you guys joined me here this evening. It is an honor. I have learned so much from each of you over the last almost a decade with Tina, several years with Crystal, several years with Tasha, several years with Jocelyn, just watching you guys move and maneuver. And so I wanted to talk to you about your experiences tonight. Is that okay? Yeah. So we're going to take turns answering questions. The audience also has some questions for you. Who has gotten a chance to ask their questions and put them down? If not, that's okay. We do have some pieces of paper going around. And Gibby, shout out to Gibby. Gibby's our showrunner and producer director. He helps me make sure that everything's running smoothly. Shout out to Brianna as well for helping with everything. She's running the stream. Basir, my husband, left. He's the show engineer, but shout out to him as well. Hi, babe. I know you're watching. And shout out to the most fabulous Miss Rebecca. She's at the bar. Thank you. So tonight, we just want to start off first with really talking about your path. So beginning, any order you want to go, leave it up to you guys. I want you to first tell me, how did you step into leadership and what was that like for you? Pass it all the way to the back. All right. Any order. I didn't care. You just had the mic.
Good evening, Dr. Kamika. Good evening, everyone. I am Latasha Williams. Thank you. I am Latasha Williams, and I have a very interesting path. My journey started off as an advocate for people wrongly convicted. I had no idea that I would even be interested in a career in law. I have this little artsy side to me, and so I always thought that I would pursue cosmetology, which I did do.
And your makeup looks fabulous this evening.
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you. But I used cosmetology as a way to pay for my law school education. And but I started as an advocate helping people wrongly convicted, and I saw that there was a need. It's an underserved community. And so I just dug right in and just would help clients with research and identifying attorneys to represent them for free. I quickly realized how challenging that is. And now as an attorney, I see why, because time does equate to money. And so I said, well, since it's kind of hard for me to find attorneys to help these people for free, I'll figure it out somehow, and I will go to law school and become an attorney. And so that's what I did, beginning my career as a prosecutor, a judicial law clerk, and then I founded my own law firm, Williams Law Group, right here in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. So that's the quick synopsis of my path. Thank you. And there are not many attorneys of of color generally, and certainly not in the specific field of criminal defense. And so I'm proud to be a part of that community, helping people who are accused of crimes and helping those who have already been convicted with proving their innocence or not their innocence, but prove, because who wants to be in jail, but trying to help them get some sort of relief of their conviction and their judgment of sentence. So that's my path. And ultimately, I learned that I wanted to become a judge. And that was after viewing a very fine judge, in my opinion, named Louis Presenza out of Philadelphia County way back when, over 20-something years ago. And I just thought he was dynamic in the way that he ran his drug treatment court. And I said, I want to be a judge, and so I'm on that path. I've been consistently on that path since 2021 here in Dauphin County, and I don't see me stopping until we achieve that goal.
Amen. Amen. I love it. Now, before this young lady gets started, I do want to say one thing. Everyone was like, well, who is Crystal Brown? Well, you're about to find out who Crystal Brown is. I'm very excited that she's here. Go ahead.
Thank you. So I am Crystal Brown, and I am a social worker. And so as you were talking about advocating for those, the criminal justice system, I thank you for all that you do. So I am, I've always wanted to do social work. I care about systems, and I love macro practice. And so as I started my career working with individuals experiencing homelessness, doing more direct service, and then had an opportunity.
There's like two different ones. Hold on. Here you go. There you go.
Hello? Is that
There
better?
we go.
Okay, there we go. So I had an opportunity to do some direct service and then to move in to more nonprofit management and administration. So an incredible opportunity to work with some incredible people here in this community. And then kind of as opportunities come up, I got to jump into HR. So an opportunity to take those social work skills and to apply to human resources. And it's an interesting dynamic in HR being a social worker when your focus is on advocacy and justice and trying to manage that then with business needs. So it definitely was an opportunity to be kind of stretched and to challenge myself, and also an opportunity to challenge those different systems. And then I've gotten the opportunity now to move into philanthropy. So to be at our local community foundation, and that opportunity to have been in nonprofit organizations working in the community, to have worked at a for-profit organization, understanding what the business component is, and then now to be on the side of philanthropy. It's just been an incredible journey to see how all of those pieces are so important to build thriving communities and how we all play a role in making that happen.
She's saving the best. Is this on?
It's on. Now I can hear you now. Okay.
We're saving the best for last. That's what it is. Good evening, Dr. Campbell, everybody here, and ladies on the stage. My name is Jocelyn Rawls. I play many roles. I am a mother first, then I am a teacher, and I'm also the chair of Parks, Recreation, and Enrichment on City Council for the city of Harrisburg.
Yes.
Thank you. My leadership journey and coming into leadership came very early in life. I would say it came in first grade. It came from a teacher not accepting my differences and how I learned differently, and basically belittling me for that. So as a 7-year-old, even though kids soak up things, they're sponges, they think about their life very early. So please always remember that. And at 7 years old, I said, I'm gonna be a teacher, and I'm gonna make sure I lead a classroom where everyone feels included. So that was my first bout at leadership, and that's how I'm a leader in my classroom right now, where I teach. I came into city council in leadership because when I moved into Harrisburg, there were potholes all on my street. And I remember complaining to my father, who's in the crowd, and Jesse Rawls, and also my mother, and they were like, do something about it. I was like, okay. And we start conversing about the different roles that you could have in government, which I didn't know a lot about because, I mean, I think we can all be honest, civics class wasn't our best. It didn't engage us, it wasn't fun. We just didn't know a lot about government, and we didn't care to. We didn't see the importance. So as I dove into that and looked at what government looked like in my community, I found city council. I liked that it was a group of individuals working together, but they still had their own minds. And they were able to really listen to the community at meetings and interact with them and engage with them out at different community events. So that was how I got into the leadership role on city council. And I felt like I could bring a different characteristic to it with being a teacher. We know how to deal with disgruntled people in a way where they can be heard and be listened to and communicate with them and find like middle ground. And so as I am into this part of leadership, I'm always like, give people a slow yes instead of a fast no. So these are the different ways that I lead and try to lead within my community.
Amazing.
Good evening. I'm on? Can you hear me? Okay, good evening, everyone. Tina Nixon. I'm very excited to be here this evening. My leadership journey started a long, long time ago. That's why I think I'm sitting right next to you. I'm the oldest one here. But really looking at it from the lens of servant leadership. My mother started the first soup kitchen here in Harrisburg at St. Francis. My grandmother was the chief of staff for the former Speaker of the House, Kaylee Over. So I had those role models I had to live up to, but really focusing on that servant leadership aspect of it and how can I use the gifts that I have to serve others. And so my journey has been from nonprofit and running the YWCA for 15 years to the C-suite of a large healthcare system. And navigating that has been a challenge, but also has been inspirational. And now I'm on the journey to running for Dauphin County Clerk of Courts. When I did the research to figure out, is this something that I can do? Really, the research shows if you take care of people, then everything else will fall into place. And I am very proud and happy that I was able to empower so many people throughout my career. Individuals now who have started their own businesses, who've gotten certification and degrees because of, simply being able to care for your fellow human being. And whatever level you are, I'm a true believer in that you bring people along with you. And if you have a seat at the table, you make sure that you save space for other people coming along. So I feel that me connecting and touching individuals throughout the community has helped our community as a whole, and I want to continue to do that as I continue to serve the greater Harrisburg area.
Amazing. Thank you, ladies. That was really great. And as you hear how enthusiastic the crowd is, I love hearing your pass into leadership, but I also want to know, what challenges do you think have been unique to you as who you are, but also as being a Black woman in this region, with getting into leadership, but just getting into any of the roles, right? And you guys all serve very different roles in our community. But I know, because I've watched you and I've talked to all of you about the challenges. And there are challenges. And I want to get into that quickly tonight, because as fast as we can, because I want to talk about what you recognize as a challenge, and first, just what you recognize as a challenge. Let's start there. What do you recognize as challenges in your work, especially as Black women leading in our community?
I recognize that there are many barriers, and you can either allow those barriers to stop you in your place or figure out the best way to navigate them. And understanding many times things won't go your way, but if you're doing it for the greater good, you'll be able to maneuver through that. One of the things that I truly believe is listening to understand, and also understanding that you can't take everything personally. And it's really about that self-examination of knowing who you are. And as you develop as you age, I should say, there comes a point where you don't worry about the noise and you tune it out and you really focus on what your goals are and what you're trying to achieve on a greater level. Because I'm gonna tell you, there's a lot of noise And sometimes we're our own worst enemies. I'm talking about women of color, if I can speak about that, because
Speak freely. Speak freely.
because there's room for all of us, and I've noticed that there is room for all of us. You don't have to stymie someone else because you're at a space or a place in your career. For me, I love helping other women. I love mentoring, and I think it's critically important that we understand that there's room for all of us. And especially in the day and time that we're living in, we really need to figure out how we can work together and build the collaborative and connections that we need to build, because no one's coming to save us.
That's right.
No one's coming to save us. And if we continue to do, I'm going to say the little slimy things, because I can't think of a better word right now, to tear each other down, we'll never get there. And I just want people to understand it's okay. We can get there together if we work together.
But why? But yes. I have a follow-up question to that. Yeah. But why do you think, and anybody can answer the question, it doesn't have to be you, but why do we think that happens? Because I see this day in and day out in the community. We tear each other down as Black women, women of color, Hispanic women versus Black women, white women versus Black women, Southeast Asian women versus Black and brown women. Why are we doing that?
In my opinion, which everyone has one, just like I think it's, feeling that something's going to be taken from me, or that you're getting something greater than I am. And that's that whole emphasis on what does equity really look like, and why are we trying to diminish that word? Because equity is about making sure the playing field's level regardless of where you are, where you're at, what your needs are. And it's looking at systems, and there's a lot of systems created to create these barriers, looking at how you can navigate. And one of the things I always tell, there's nothing that we can't go over, under, tear down, burn down, bust down, and do whatever we have to do to get to where we need to be. But I think it's thinking that if you do well, then I'm missing something. And it has to do with our insecurities as well. And that's something I think is historical also. And we need to really examine that and heal that healing piece from it. Well, I can't say, I've seen you twice. Your words are phenomenal, and they really touch my heart. So thank you. And some of the things that she said, we really need to understand.
Absolutely right.
I'm sorry, I'll start talking.
You make sure that mic is on.
Okay. I think we should need to turn up the box.
I'm putting the.
Smart.
There we
Go
go.
ahead.
Okay. Ooh, I did it now. Hold on. I think it went off.
No, it's good. Yeah, there you go. It don't matter. The tape didn't matter.
I see you can touch the button.
You can. You can still touch the button. Yeah.
Okay. So I guess I'll start with your first question,
Yes.
which was like, what barriers
Yes.
do I see as a African American woman? The first one is, I think, the long-standing judgment that we are too loud, that we are mean, we too aggressive. That's the one that gets me the most. We are too aggressive. When honestly, it's passion. Honestly, it's generational passion passed down to us from our ancestors of what they had to be on the plantation. If you really look back at it and you really read the Willie Lynch letter, it says exactly what they were making us to be. They were making us be head of household and the man stand behind us and made us be aggressive. So that is the generational thing that we took on, but as time went, we learned to turn that aggression into passion. And that is what we are now as Black women. We speak with love, we speak with conviction, we make sure we're assertive, but we say it in a respectful way. So I think we're just taken the wrong way, and I think that's our biggest barrier, one of them. The second one is we have to constantly overthink, will this hairstyle offend somebody? If I get these braids, if I get these dreads, if I cut my hair and dye it a certain way, is this gonna offend somebody? And I think we are majority the only race as women who have to think that way. And that's a barrier for us, because why can't I just be myself? Why can't I just go into my workplace being myself as long as I'm going in presentable and professional? Yes. So I feel like those are the two barriers for us as Black women and coming over that. But as Ms. Nixon said, doing that together. When social media took that uptake and came, 15 minutes of fame was big. And especially in our community, because we weren't being seen. Wow. So now we're gonna go on there, we're gonna argue with each other, and wait, our kids see us. And see, that's what we forgot. And now we have these young Black girls on the internet arguing with each other, fighting each other, pulling each other's hair, and they think it's okay. Well, my mom does it. What can you say to that? And I will end with saying, as I'm a teacher and I work with these little Black girls, and they come in with their passionate assertiveness, the one thing I try to teach them is, let me show you how to do it in a way where people hear you. Because right now, all they see is your neck moving, they see your teeth smacking, and they are going to label you as a mean and nasty little girl who can't learn. When you are so smart, you have so much to give. So I'm gonna show you how you use it in the right way. And I think that's what we need to start doing now for our little young girls.
I mean, what's there left to say, right?
She said a lot. She said a lot.
No, that was beautiful and so well said. And I think the challenge that I have experienced is this extra pressure of how you have to think through the complexity of every situation. Who will be offended by this? What do I wear? How do I show up? What tone of voice do I use to make my point heard? Or oftentimes, how do I use someone else to make the statement because they won't listen to me if I make the statement? And so it is constant like mental gymnastics. And the weight of that can be exhausting. Truly. And at the same time, I can even say, I was telling Tina, right? Like when I first started in my career, how much I looked up to you and how Tina was always so kind and spoke my name in rooms when I wasn't there. And so there can be sometimes that infighting and that backbiting, but I also think there's a place for us to lift as we climb because there is room for all of us. And if we can keep that mindset, I think that is what is put in place to keep unity, because in unity there is power. And so if we're fighting and we're arguing amongst ourselves, we've lost sight of where we should be directing that energy to create systemic change in those systems so that there can be more opportunities.
There truly is nothing I can think of that can add to what these ladies have said. I wholly concur. I think just insecurities, generally speaking, is an issue, and it's something that we have to deal with for all the reasons that you just heard. You know, speaking for myself, if I'm in the courtroom, you know, if I'm too passionate, will I be, you know, that angry, you know, Black girl? So how do I get my point across and fiercely advocate for my client so that the court will hear me and not perceive me for anything other than being simply that fiercely passionate for my client? And so it is a balancing act. It's extremely delicate. And that in itself does create pressure, and that pressure can be a barrier. And so I think that's all I have on that, because they really did sum it up well.
Understood, yep. Now, I am going to dig a little deeper here because you guys were so positive and beautiful, but I want to know, I want you to close your eyes, all four of you, for a second. I want you to think back to a time in your career when a specific person or situation challenged you and threatened to knock you off your square, off your block. And I want you to tell, this audience is here for the real. So I want you to tell our audience, not exactly who, but who the person was, what the situation was, and how you overcame that situation and how it informs the type of leader that you are today. You can take a moment. Hey y'all, they thinking about it. How y'all doing? Are y'all enjoying the show so far? Yeah. Y'all thought of something?
Anybody thought of something? Anybody could go first. I know you gonna pass the mic again.
No,
Okay,
I
all
want to
right.
go first. I'll get over it. So, the pivotal moment for me was when I became the CEO at the YWCA. And when you go from being peers to being in a leadership role, you know, your peers you can have lunch with, you can go out to happy hour with, you can talk about that boss stinks, she's terrible. And, but when you're in that leadership role, you have to transition. And I realized it's lonely at the top. And I also realized that you have to set a standard. And my standard was, I need to set a standard of excellence. And because we gotta do things 15 times better, we gotta be 25 times smarter. So whatever I do, that's what I'm gonna work towards. And I remember it's my first year as CEO, and a dear friend, she's like, you look like a deer in the headlights. I was like, I was. But I remember someone calling me and saying, I see there's a lot of jobs for the YW in the newspaper. What's going on over there? And I paused and I said, I'm setting the standard. And if people can't meet me where they are, I gotta find a new team. And it was someone that I thought would be supportive and understanding, but they weren't. And I had to be brave and bold to continue on that journey to really develop the team that I can say now, 30 years later, I know you like when I say 30 years later, you know, I see these folks and what do you need, Miss Tina? How can I help you? And it's because, you know, you set a standard and you challenge people. I had to lay someone off in 2023, and when I sat down, I thought, this is gonna be the hardest thing I have to do. And she said, no, Miss Tina, you encouraged me to get my bachelor's degree. You encouraged me to get my master's degree. I'm gonna take some time off, and do you know she's starting her own business? That's what we need to do, and that's what we need to continue to do. And so, you know, leadership is not, just like aging, it's not for the weak. And there will be trials, and there were many nights I cried, and my poor husband had to listen to me. When it's really about serving others, you're able to navigate through that. And not everybody likes you, and not everybody's gonna wanna work with you. And at some point you think, that's okay. But it takes some time to get there.
I don't always want to go second.
Do you mind repeating that question?
Absolutely,
Thank
absolutely.
you.
So I was like, close your eyes and think of a time, and who the person was and what the situation was where you had to overcome and how you did it.
Okay.
And she said, don't say names.
And don't say names. I said don't say names.
Well, the situation that comes to mind for me, so I began my journey running for Dauphin County Judge back in 2021, and it was my first time seeking public office. I was a novice, and you know, it's very expensive running for public office. And so while I did really well, ultimately my opponent defeated me in the general election. And so during in the weeks leading up to the general election, I met another candidate who was also seeking elective office, and it was a Black woman, and she actually was successful in her race. And so when learning that I did not win my race, she ultimately reached out to me. Now, by that time, I had just started a new job and went from one prosecution office to a different prosecution office in a different county. So I was fresh on this job, but I said, my sister, in more ways than one, and I'll leave it at that, but my sister is reaching out, and I'm going to help her in this new role. And so I put in my 2 weeks notice after only having been at the new job for 2 months. And I started my new career path with this elected official. only for her to let me go 10 days later. And so I bring up how expensive it is to run for office because I was broke. So I had no money after having just finished my general election in November. I went to work for this woman in January, and then 10 days later, she let me go. The reason given was that my writing was not up to par. This is after 10 days. I later learned that was not the reason, and I won't share what the real reason was. But that absolutely was not the real reason, and it was all politics. I'll just leave it at that. But what that did was it created this fear in me because I did not know at the time where that came from. So I said, why would someone seek me out only to let me go 10 days later? So I can't trust anyone in this town. And I don't want to look for another job where I have a direct employer because I don't want the same thing to happen to me again. I have a mortgage to pay. And so I, just took the skills that I had. I thought about experience I had gathered with 2 local attorneys who I worked for when they opened their practices, and I said, I think I can do this. And so that experience actually opened the door for me to begin Williams Law Group. And I don't know that I would have done that had she not done that to me. And I still don't speak ill on her. I mean, I'm sharing this experience here. I've not said her name in public rooms. Certainly I do in private rooms. But because she's still, my sister, and there's still that loyalty that I have, unfortunately, that she didn't show towards me. But that is okay. And so I just took that experience moving forward and realized that, I can do anything that I put my mind to, starting a business, running for a judgeship a second time, and now currently a third time. So that's the situation that comes to my mind.
Wow. Wow, thank you for sharing that. That's amazing.
A situation that could have knocked me off my block and tore me down.
Yes, yes.
I would say I was teaching in a particular district, and it was a lot of quiet racism that you don't see at first, or you put it out the back of your mind like, no, this isn't can't be. Like, we're done with that. My supervisor at the time, my administrator, I had kept going to her saying, I don't really feel like these particular teachers are working with me. We're supposed to work as a team because that's how we make our students better. If we're on the same team, it's almost like parenting. We share ideas, and I mean, we could do wonders with these students. And I remember they kept we would plan lessons together, and then they would change the lesson, and I would notice with the bulletin boards they would put up, and my classroom was right in the middle of theirs, so I would look completely different than they did. And I was like, okay, that's not happening. Then I noticed during recess, all the Black and brown kids were on the wall for 10, 15 minutes all the time. And I was like, So I said something to my administrator. Her response was, we'll talk to them about it. I'm like, I don't think that's my place. I think that you should say something, but I will try. I didn't feel like it would go anywhere, so I kept my mouth closed. Then that same administrator, 2 separate times, one time she didn't know I heard her say it, but someone had asked her, why aren't there more teachers of color in our building? And she said, they're not qualified. Black and brown teachers, they're not qualified to teach. It's like, okay, she didn't say that. Put it in the back of my mind again, just kept suppressing. Then one time, she actually said it to me. And I said, not only are we qualified, but we can sit at the same table any teacher can. We get the same qualifications. We go to school. We take the same test. We don't give up. So what's most important is that kids see all different spectrums of color and dominations or whatever in a school to say, I can do this too. And she said, okay. I was like, okay. So I went to HR. But not only did I go to HR, other teachers saw what was happening and they wrote letters. So I'm like, oh, this is good. You know, we could get somewhere. It went absolutely nowhere.
Wow.
Nothing happened, nothing was done. But what I learned from that situation was you have to speak up. It is uncomfortable. Sometimes you feel like I'd rather just keep my job. I don't want to say anything. I don't want to ruffle any feathers. But when you don't do that, you don't create change. So although I didn't see the change, I see the changes now happening. So I'm able to look back at that district now, and they are changing a little bit at a time because people are starting to speak up. So definitely let your voice be heard. Don't just suppress it. It is happening. So tell your truth, speak on it, and let things change.
Thank you for sharing that. Thank you.
I was serving as the executive director at a local nonprofit, and we were working with individuals experiencing homelessness, primarily women with children. And I had just moved into the executive director role. In that organization's history, I was the first woman and the first person of color to ever be in that role. And it had faith-based roots, so a lot of central Pennsylvania congregations were the majority of our donors and our supporters. And going out to meet with these donors, and often the assumption that I was the client meeting with them, and never the executive director of the organization. And that internal struggle of like, what do I say to the donor who writes the check that funds the mission, but is out of line in what has just occurred? Was this personal struggle of how much do I challenge that, how do I pull? And then there was one time we were out at a church, and it was myself and then my director of development. It was a white woman. And we're speaking, we're moving through things, you know, through the service, and I lead the Sunday school class, talking to them about our mission. And after everything was over, an individual, now this was an all-white congregation, the gentleman came up to me at the end, and he goes, I have to be honest with you, I didn't think you were the executive director. And I thought, well, I mean, I know, like this is what I experience all the time.
Right, I know that.
Right? But he was reckoning with what that was, that he was.
Yes, that he was doing.
He assumed she was, not me. Even though I intentionally always dress one level above, right? You're always like trying to do just a little more to prove, like, yes, I'm worthy of this position. I have earned it. And so it's such an interesting challenge with that. And I told one of my board members about some of the experiences that I get when I'm out. And so the next time I was out at another church, my board member actually stood up for his congregation, and he shared that example, and he challenged them as to, you know, why do we make these assumptions? Like, what work do we need to do? And so, I mean, things continue to happen, but also there are those opportunities of being able to speak up, like you were saying, to use your voice, to speak up, to not be so scared, to have the courage to say, no, this is not okay. Let's talk about what these assumptions are as to who individuals are that are in need of services and who individuals are that are qualified to operate in a variety of capacities. And it was such a challenge, you know, some days are better than others, but I'll never forget one time we were in group and one of our participants was like, Miss Crystal, it's so good to see you in this position and to see what is possible. And that's what we keep pushing forward. We set that example and we weather some storms, we navigate through so that those others coming behind us, beside us, hopefully have one less hill to have to climb as we've navigated through that.
I love it. That's amazing. Thank you for that.
Can I just say one more thing?
Of course you can say one more thing. Amazingly, absolutely.
I think it's important for folks to understand as we advocate for ourselves, we also need people in the room to advocate with us and align with us. And I was fortunate enough after so many years, I had a work partner that when I would raise her hand, she would she would nicely say, she would look at me like, I got this. And because she knew what I was going to say. I was going to say something around, what about this group, or what about this? And so I think it's important when you feel, if you feel that, you know, that's not my battle, that's not something I can speak on, there's always space for you to be an ally and support those individuals, especially if they're the only one sitting at the table.
Absolutely agree. All right. I know we started a few minutes late, so give me a tiny bit of grace to ask some audience questions because I thought these were some excellent ones. I can only do a few because, again, we started a little late. However, thank you for submitting these questions. I'm going to take the rest of them and send them to our panelists, and we're going to answer them on the page. If you're not following the Black NewsBeat page, please follow. We're going to answer these questions. Is that okay with you guys? We answer those questions?
Yes.
Thank you for that. All right, so let's get into some audience questions. Are you ready? Okay.
Yes.
I thought these were excellent questions. I'm going to start with a little bit of a softball and move into some deeper questions. What does equity mean to you? And what advice or insight would you give someone who is just learning about equity? What does it mean to you, and what insight or advice do you have for someone who is just learning about equity?
So to me, equity means giving people the tools that they need at the time, the space, and wherever they're at so that they can move forward. So not everybody needs the same thing at the same time. It's not one size fits all. And it's understanding that, and it's being able to put action towards that. And I know everyone's seen the fence and the wheelchair and the trees. You know, I've been doing this work for 10 years. Everybody's seen that infographic. But truly, it's really about providing resources at the right time in the right space when people need it. And it's not about taking something from someone else and, you know, giving it to other folks. It's just because everybody needs something at different times. And we have to understand that. So that's what it means to me.
And this climate, I think, is important to have that mindset, because we are knee deep, maybe chin deep in a climate where people are like, I feel like something's being taken from me. So I really appreciate that answer, because it is a good reminder that equity does not mean, right? Equity is not pie, right? If one slice of pie goes away, it doesn't mean that there's less for everybody. Actually, the more that equitably you are, the more everyone is able to thrive, and that's really important.
And someone said this word earlier, and I think, you know, when we're talking about equity and we're talking about working with one another, we have to be able to give people grace, because not everyone's at the same stage. And I would say walk in their shoes. You don't know the journey it took for someone to get in front of you. So not only when you talk about equity, you have to talk about empathy and understanding that, and listening to understand and being willing to give grace.
All right, yes. So you're not going to answer the same question. You've got another question.
Yes,
all right.
Yes.
What is your biggest, most proudest accomplishment?
Oh my gosh.
Biggest, most proudest. And I love that question because I like asking questions like this. What is your biggest, most proudest, most wonderfulest, most excellentest accomplishment?
Pushing out 2 babies.
Yes,
At the same time?
I know.
Oh,
2 different.
Said, I got another one for you.
No,
I had
no,
twins. Okay.
No, I came back 5 years later and pushed out another baby. I mean, that it has to be. That was a struggle all in itself, right? So, I mean, you know, if I have to name one, having 2 baby girls, and they are beautiful, they are wonderful, 12 and 7 currently, ruling my world. But yes, that was my biggest, most proudest accomplishment.
Love that.
Thank you.
Next question is for Tasha, and I did pick these really quickly based on how much I know you guys. So, all right. How do you feel about the phrase code switching, and how do you navigate it while still advocating for yourself in the workplace? Now, you own your own business, so it's a little bit of a cheat, but you do interact with a lot of different entities around the region.
Yes, I don't code switch. And so for, you know, anyone in the audience, anyone in the viewing audience, you know, code switching is just sort of, you know, changing up demeanor, vocabulary, vernacular, based on, you know, where you are and with whom you're interacting. And I don't. I am the same Latasha, no matter, what courtroom I'm in, what clients I'm interacting with. We're a very diverse and sort of different kind of law firm in terms of it's very family oriented in a sense. We're very small. I'm the only attorney. I have an executive legal assistant as well as a law clerk and another assistant from time to time. And so we're very close knit, and it's like what you see is what you get. And I want our clientele to feel comfortable and determine for themselves if we're a good fit. And I can't do that if I'm, pretending to be someone that I'm not. And that even includes just my comportment and my delivery. If a client is looking for someone who's going to be, high-strung and screaming all over the place, then I let them know that this is not the firm for them because that is not me. And so I don't code switch at all. I just don't do it.
I kind of expected that answer, but also it's interesting to hear it play out. And for the audience, code switching is truly, so you are using different tactics and tools in different settings. And some people believe in it wholeheartedly, some people don't, but also some people see it as a method of survival, right? It's a way to make sure that you get through these different settings without causing too much harm to yourself. So code switching can be useful in places, but also it's tough. It's tough and it's wearisome. And so I understand not doing it at all. And I've been really coming out of that. Like I try to be myself wherever I'm at. And one of the best compliments I've gotten in the last 5 years is, yeah, you're the same on and off social media. You just be the same. And I like that for me. All right, last question. This one is for Mrs. Brown. I saved the deep question for you. All right. So feel free to be like, this is too much, but I saved it for you. All right. What are the 3 leadership dimensions you rely on the most while navigating today's challenges of being a woman of color? Ain't that good?
Well, okay.
Ain't that good? Honey, let me read it again because it was good. What are the 3 leadership dimensions you rely on the most? The 3 leadership dimensions. Of course it was you. Of course it was you. That you rely on the most while navigating today's challenges of being a woman of color.
So I don't know if these are leadership dimensions. I'm going to take it more.
Honey,
kind of
dimensions
like
would really took me out of here too.
I don't know if there's a standard.
I was like, dimensions. What dimensions? Okay.
I will definitely Google that when I get home. But we just did this activity at work thinking about values, like our personal values and things that are important to us. And the things that rose to the top for me, my top 3, were community, joy, and justice. And so those things are really what guide me, how I make decisions, what motivates me, what kind of keeps me centered, because I do believe in community. I think there is such power in the collective, and that we've spent so much time on this individual path of, well, what helps me, what gets me what I want, that we've lost track that we all need to rise together. Yes. So as I'm thinking through different situations, Tina, I think you said about kind of, meeting people where they are, trying to use and be more mindful of that and thinking about that community. And justice is just my core.
That's right.
Like, it's
That's
just
right.
the core
Yeah.
of everything that I do. It is why I chose the profession. It is what my grandparents and my family have instilled in me of how we care for others and we stand up for what is right. And I just love some joy. Like, I just feel like life is hard. It is heavy. And we have to find that joy, not happiness, that circumstance, but just joy, what that peace and steadiness is. And I have a friend of mine, she used to joke, we were gonna name my daughter Joy, like Joy Renee, her middle name, right? And so just however we find that joy in the people that we surround ourselves in, the community that we have, in the work that we do, the peace and the stillness. So there are my 3 dimensions.
It's the dimensions for me. That was amazing. And now we are coming to a close, but we have one special support. Did you see the surprise segment? Yeah, you saw that. And it's not too bad, but we may get a little teary-eyed, so get your napkins. All right? Get your napkins. Oh, you didn't read the thing. You didn't read it, Miss Tina. You ain't read it. Oh, it's okay. I have done this a couple of times in different settings, and I want to do it now. And this is going to close us out. All right. So, and I want you to do this too for each other in your daily lives. So right now we're going to do something called. Let me scroll down because I'm making sure I get the name right. The Living Legacy Awards, and we're making it up on the spot. So ladies, your task is this. I'm gonna give you 1 minute to think about it. I want you to choose a woman on the stage, and I want you to give her an award. I want you to give her a Living Legacy Award right now. And I want you to tell that woman why they get that award and what it means to you. So take a moment, and I'll just talk to the crowd. Hey guys, how's everybody doing? Have you enjoyed the show so far? I am so happy to see all. You can't talk to each other. You can't talk to each other. No. Sit it on. What you doing? You can get up, but you can't talk to each other. No, you can't talk to each other. You got to do it silently. You got to choose somebody. If it's the same person, it don't matter. It's who was on your heart. I'm gonna do my first, but let me talk to them for a minute. You think about it. How are y'all doing? Is everybody okay tonight? Has this been enriching for you? I tell you, I have grown in the last hour because I get downtrodden trying to do the work, and it is rough. And I'm in a particularly low place personally, just with things. And so this has been so uplifting for me. So I'm thankful that you're all here experiencing this with me. All right? So thank you guys for being here. Y'all still talking to each other. Oh, not about it. Okay, all right. Okay. So I'm gonna do mine first because I want to make sure I do mine first and get it out of the way. But the person that I'm giving my award to is actually not up here. But I want to give one to somebody in the audience. And that is Latasha. I have been, are you? Tasha, and this is just a little from me to you. You are a shining light always, and you remind me to keep going when things get hard. Just watching how you interact, how you keep moving through these spaces, how you never give up, has been very inspirational. So I am happy to know you. I know we don't get to talk as much as we used to, but it is always a joy seeing you out wherever you are, and you are a living legacy to me. Your light shines on, and I'm proud to know you.
Thank you.
Okay, that was an example, and I really didn't mean that. I really didn't mean that. So now it's your turn. Go ahead, or whoever wants to go first.
Okay, since I got the mic, I'm going to go first. And I know it's really hard for me to follow rules, and I'm really learning how to try to follow rules. But I want to give one to you.
Do not do this to me right now.
Because I've known you for 10 plus years, and I've seen you grow into this phenomenal woman that is so committed to making change, and you've learned that it's about the greater good. And I'm so proud of you and so proud of the work that you do. And thank you for just going through all the trials and tribulations, the crime and everything that you've been through, and know that you are doing phenomenal work in this community. So I want to thank you, and I appreciate you. And I don't know if you all participated in Juneteenth, but that was just off the Richter scale. And you deserve your flowers.
The award wasn't supposed to be for me.
Okay. I have another one. And you know, Latasha, you know, we just met not too long ago.
There's a camera behind you.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to show. I'll do it this way. And I'm gonna say, you are phenomenal. And whatever we can do collectively to get you into that seat, we will do. And my heart goes out to you. This is, you know, she's raising a young baby daughter. Where's the baby?
A cute baby.
The cutest baby daughter. But, and I hear the words and the message that you're sending of how much you care about our children and our community. And I know you'll be the judge when those children stand in front of you to make sure they have an alternate path and it's not just to prison. So thank you for showing up and just engaging in this for the third time, because many women, when they run, especially Black women, we don't want to do it again. But again, it's about serving and the time that we're in, and I know you feel compelled to serve as much as I do, so thank you for that. I appreciate it. I'm not sure who goes to, but thank you.
My flowers were also going to Tasha. I met you on the campaign trail, cold outside trying to get signatures, and I'm like, well, who are you running for? And you're like, what are you running for? I remember we were down at the Music Man. And you know, and you're not originally from Harrisburg, but just trying to infiltrate and come in and learn people. And you started with running for one of the biggest roles of what we needed. So it was almost like it was a calling for you. You saw what we need in the community. But why you came to me first and on my heart to give gratitude and give your flowers to is because you don't give up. And that's a determination we need in that seat, is someone who doesn't get knocked down easily the first time, right? But you get back up and you don't go run for a different position. You went and ran, you keep running for the same one to say, that's where your heart is. And not against anybody who runs for different positions, but just to say, that has to show like determination and growth in saying, okay, I didn't get it the first time, but that doesn't mean I'm not coming back, right? And that takes a lot of a certain type of personality. So I feel like if someone says, oh, I don't know who she is, but she's ran a few times for this same position, I'm voting for her because she's gonna be determined in and out of that seat. So thank you, and please continue to work hard. You got my vote all the time.
All the time.
So it is such an honor to be here with these incredible women, to have the shared stories, the encouragement, the examples, right? Everyone's path is different, but it is so encouraging to be able to see others on their journey. So, Ms. Tina, mine for you. You serve with such grace and such genuineness, and you lift others up. You talk about servant leadership, and you are that example. And I was so excited to be featured on this panel with you, like the honor and the privilege to be sitting here with you for all the commitment that you've had through, you know, the service at the Y, and now with the different leadership opportunities that you are taking. So such an honor to be able to support, to be alongside with you, and thank you for all that you've done to pave the way for many, many others.
Yeah.
So I am going to break the rule, and I'm going to give 2 awards, because that is just...
2 awards.
Yes, I am. We just met, literally. But first award is to you. You are working with a population that just initially jumped out to me when you said, you know, the homeless population, and then women and children. Women being, you know, the givers of life. I mean, life comes from God, of course, but it is through women that we come into being. And so taking care of that population is amazing. It's wonderful because women, particularly in these days, are the backbones of the family. When you look at particularly poor families and families of color, we see what's happening with the men in those family structures, and so the women are left holding the bag and having the responsibility of caring for the children and caring for the entire family. And so you get the first award, and then my second award, my dear. That is so true. We met back in 2021 on the field, and just your story, which I didn't know what your inspiration was for becoming a teacher. As you know, teachers mold minds. Teachers spend more time, wake hours, with our young people than their parents, just because of how society is structured. And so your passion for teaching, all that you pour into your students, it's just commendable because every day you're charged with being a part of their lives where you can impart so much to them, and you are an example. The example should start in the home, but not every child has that. And so next up is you. And so you get my next award for all that you do for our young people.
I just wanted you guys to take a moment to pour into each other and share that example, right? Because a lot of times we don't get to speak life to each other. And it is important that we do, because the road is hard, the road is long, the road has obstacles, the road goes up, the road goes down. All these things are happening at once. And so to each of you, I just want to say thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for taking time out on a Friday to do this. Thank you for blessing this audience. Yeah. And you guys are my living legacy. Everything that I do in the community is for women like you all. Like we're locked. I know in my mind, I'm lock and step, I'm locked arms with you guys as we face these challenges together. So thank you for everything that each of you do. Thank you very much. Of course.
I know time is running out. I don't want to keep anybody, but there was something on my heart, and I have to say it. When I was looking at some of the questions you sent, and one was about DEI and what we thought about it, and give me just a few minutes because the thought came to me and it was like in pieces. The one thing I was thinking of, two parts. One, we need to boycott differently, and two, we need to look at what's happening in a different way, looking at the different pieces. And I say this because let's think about with Target. When they stopped doing DEI, a lot of us said, okay, we're not gonna go there anymore. Yep. Since you pulled out, we're done with you. I did it, and then I stepped back and I said, well, wait a minute. There are minority companies who pour their products into Target. Lip Bar, Tabitha Brown, the list goes on and on. I said, okay, if we boycott Target completely, aren't we hurting them too? Aren't we not them buying their products from Target, so then can't Target easily just say, well, no one's getting this anymore, so we'll take them off the shelf? That's easy to do. Target's such a big entity. So then I was like, well, we don't have to boycott all of Target. Let's say, you know what, only go in and buy things that are by minority sellers, and show them you need us to buy them, and you need them in your stores. That's who we want. We want everybody, but we need them too. And I was like, that's how we need to think about boycott, because we can't boycott how they did in the 60s. There was segregation. We don't have that in a way right now. We are included. So when we boycott a whole entity like that, I feel like we hurt some of the minority sellers who are there. I also said to myself, like, Target's a big entity. Who's their CEO? Who's their marketing director? That's who we need to call out. How dare you, by name call them out, how dare you take DEI away because now you don't get grants for it? So you were only doing it for show. That's who we need to call out, not Target as a whole, but the people who are behind those scenes, because CEOs come and go, marketing directors come and go. And the next one who comes in could change all of that and bring those products or bring that DEI back. So what we need to do is call out the CEO and the marketing directors of places who stop the DEI and talk about them by name and say, how dare you do this, and follow them as in their careers to be able to say this, so a light is put on them. Just like it is when people are speaking to people in ill manner out in the street and we videotape it and then they're blasted and they're called out. That's what we do to these CEOs. That's what we do to these marketing people, or anybody who decides, oh, since the government is taking DEI funds away, then I'm gonna stop it, because they were fraudulently doing it anyway. So that was on my mind to say, and I think that is how we need to look at.
She was ready for that question.
Okay. I was like, oh my gosh, like, you know, because I was boycotting them too, and I was like, no, I like Lip Bar.
But you can also get, I've been patronizing Lip Bar for 10 years, and you can get their products on their website. And it's amazing.
You can.
Then they also, and the other thing I was gonna say about that, yes, I agree with you to an extent, but the other thing I wanna say too is, always know the value of your dollar.
That too. You
The
should.
value of the black and brown dollar is so important and so large. We shop very differently than other populations, and the folks who are catering, allegedly, not even catering, but psychologically manipulating us to get into their stores, they know that. So there are several different ways to boycott, but in everything you do, understand the power of your money. You I'm poor, so it don't matter. It matters. Poor people fuel this economy. Poor, I'm gonna put that in quotation marks. Poor people fuel this economy. We're rich in every way that matters, by the way. And boycotting Target has made a difference. It has made a difference. My favorite example is Oh Happy Danny. Oh Happy Danny had books and mugs and journals and different things. And Oh Happy Danny said, they don't value me, I'm leaving. Black woman, I'm getting out of Target. You know why? Because if they don't value my customers, they don't value me. And she got up on out of there. So there are different ways to boycott, but just know there are, in addition to different ways of boycotting, folks like Oh Happy Danny understand the power of your dollar. Target does too. And so what you choose to do with your dollar, choose wisely. Because in the wake of all the things that are happening, that's the power, that's where the power lies. Even if you have 50 cents to spend it wisely.
And if I could just add,
Yes, of course.
I think this
Did
is
you turn it
broke.
off here?
I think it's broke. But more importantly, where your dollar is spent, but also understanding the importance of voting on a local level.
Voting for me.
I know a lot of people come out when there's a president's election, but your judges and your other legislators are going to determine how you live life day in and day out.
It's all about the courts too this
Yes.
November. It's
And
all about the courts.
And understanding that our voter turnout in this region is very low. We need to bring people with us. We need to have a plan. We need to make sure people get out and vote and ask the questions. I'm always amazed when people say, oh, I'm going to vote for you since you knocked on my door. I'm like, please read my literature and know where I'm coming from so you know who you're voting for.
Yep.
But do your homework and ask the questions.
Absolutely right.
And so I think that's very
Absolutely
important.
right. I was going to ask them if they had closing thoughts. So since y'all started the closing thoughts, ladies, closing thoughts.
It's on, okay. Again, thank you so much for this fireside chat. Absolutely fantastic. And just piggybacking off of what Tina said, we are, all of us here in this room are now charged with what are we going to do moving forward. We've got this election coming up. It's very important. It is vitally important. We see what's happening with our constitutional rights. It may not be any of us in the room today because we're American citizens for now. But who knows what tomorrow will bring. And our last resort will end up being the courts because we see what's happening at the executive branch. We see what's happening at the legislative branch. And so the judicial branch will be our last hope. Right. And so I just urge you all to get out there and vote November the 4th. And like Tina said, grab a few people and drag them with you. Our lives depend on it. Mm-hmm. Thank you all so much. Thank you,
That is very well said. Very well said. And the thing with leadership, there's leadership by power, right? Authority that is given to you, and there is leadership by influence. So as we were talking about how we turn out, we all have circles and networks that we can educate, that we can inform, that we can encourage to be able to take that action. We have the ability, that power that we have. So we don't want to turn that over. We don't want to lose sight of that. We want to lean into that because it is really crucial, as it has been explained already, that we must take that action before things get worse.
Yep, absolutely. We have come to the end of our evening. I first want to again thank this amazing audience. You guys have been amazing. The questions were amazing. The energy, unmatched. Thank you to our wonderful ladies this evening who've blessed us with so much information. We're going to be doing several more of these types of panels. Yes, we are going to do black men. The black men were in my inbox. What about the black men? It's coming. I promise. But I am thankful for all of you for being here, and thank you for tuning into this special episode of the Black NewsBeat. We will see you soon. We have so much more to cover. As I say at the end of every episode, big up yourselves, clap for yourselves. You're amazing. You're beautiful people. Keep clapping. Let's clap it up for yourselves. We need you. We love you. You are part of this community, and we can't do it without you. We can't move forward without you. So we will see you soon. Thank you for watching the Black NewsBeat. Good night.